I had asked you about, obviously you have plenty of skill as a designer. Why wouldn't you do other clothing, regular? I mean, why couldn't you probably make bank? I mean, designer jeans and nice shirts and things like that.
Well, a lot of those clothing, for one, are produced offshore, and I think that's wrong. I want to keep the jobs in the United States. So I made a very big decision early on that all my goods are going to be produced in the United States and hopefully in Virginia by moms. I felt quite strongly about that. So I've pretty much kept to that. And the other big companies that produce that you buy off the rack, most of that's produced in Malaysia, Indonesia. It's not produced here. And I wanted to keep the jobs here.
So now on the notion of the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
There are you sell clothes that are they historical recreations, or are they based in history? The clothes that you make.
It varies. Most of them I try to make it as accurate as I can. Now obviously I use sewing machines. I don't do stuff by hand. But as far as my outfits go, there's me and another woman here that produce very historically accurate clothing. I don't make fantasy wear. I don't make what I consider costumes. I make real clothing that would have been worn back then.
Why is it important to you to be accurate?
Because it makes people very happy when they put it on. It kind of strikes a degree of truth with them. And it's like my purpose as a business is to enhance the culture through the creation of aesthetics. That's what a group purpose is. So when it comes down to a level of actually talking to a customer, we want to make that man handsome or the woman beautiful. And when they put on something that used to exist somewhere back in time, it kind of rings true with them and it makes the whole experience for them better. I don't know how to describe what that dress. If I dressed you in something, I think you'd get it. It's one of those. It's not a tangible thing. I really can't put words to it.
Perhaps tapping into some collective unconscious.
That would actually be a good way to put it. Yes. Yeah.
So, could you repeat that for the camera if you don't mind?
About tapping into the collective. Yeah. Well, just what you're saying is correct. It would be like tapping into a collective unconsciousness where people just kind of innately know when they put on something and they go, wow, this feels right, and you put a guy in a kilt for the first time, they stand up a little bit straighter. They just feel it, you know?
How is that different from fantasy wear? I mean, how would that be different if you had a section of Gandalf's robes or a Hobbit's clothing?
Sure. Well, I think if people were really into the movie, it might hit them the same way. Like we do a line of Ranger clothing in the leather booth that's based on things from the movie that many guys, they just love it. It really puts them in that character. But for me and my taste, what I like is I prefer historical pieces. So that's how I care to create. But it could be just as true, like some people like fairy clothing or other type of fantasy wear, but it doesn't communicate to me as well as historical pieces.
So if this is not character,
yeah,
what is it? If you're not creating characters.
Well, if someone is an actor, yes, you're creating a character. But for a lot of these people that I deal with, it is just to make them have an experience where they feel that they look better and therefore feel better. And they feel, with my booth particularly since it's Scottish and Irish, is often people are tapping into their heritage. And it gives them that kind of sense of connectedness with their family lines.
Now the Renaissance Fair, there seems to be a dotted, but definitely darkly dotted line between the people who either come in fantasy or work in the fantasy businesses and the people who come historical and work in the more historical business.
Right.
How do you see that those two have legitimate space at the fair?
Oh, sure. It just depends on, because not everybody has the same taste. So we have different customers here that prefer different looks. I mean, you can't dress everybody or make everybody happy. We all have different tastes. So yeah, I think there is. And some shows specialize more in fantasy, and some fairs specialize more in historical accuracy. It really is kind of determined by the guy who runs the show as to what he wants.
And a notion that, switch gears a little bit,
Sure.
notion that comes up a lot
Yeah.
in talking to people, is the idea of community.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your experience with the community here at this Renaissance Fair in particular, or Renaissance fairs in general?
Sure, is with any kind of specialized interest, whether it's computers or stock market guys or whoever they are. If you have a strong interest in the area, like with the Renaissance, where a lot of these people enjoy dressing up in this clothing, they make friends that they come to the fair with, and it's a whole experience with them to come here, enjoy themselves, eat some nice food, drink a beer. They develop their own social network. And through the internet as well now, there's like what is called groups called Friends of Fair. And those are people that don't work here, but people that come here sometimes every weekend. And they have their own bulletin boards, and they communicate where to go and what's happening. And they go to even different fairs together around the country. So it is definitely a strong community.
So, I mean, you know, you said you've used the word business more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Are you finding it, I mean, have you ever found it difficult? I mean, I know you have a very specialty product, but
Sure.
your shop is also full.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of people down there, right?
Yes.
And there were when we came last week. And
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess my question is, how are you finding business? I mean, are you finding it?
Business right now, this weekend, is because of the rain. Today it's a little off. But overall, each year my business increases. So for me, I'm doing well.
What do you think you could attribute that increase to? Do you have any notions or any?
Yeah, one thing is with any artist, you have to keep it fresh, so always have new designs. I hire excellent people who are really nice with the public, and they're very helpful. I think it's a combination of that and we have very good customer relations. I mean, my customers are worth gold to me, and I take care of them, and my guys take care of them. So I think it's those two things, because almost everybody who comes in here, they're either a friend of somebody they've already dealt with, or I've dealt with them in the past and sold to them in the past. So.
Now, do you have any children?
No.
I was going to ask you if your children were involved, but never mind.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Lauren, do you have any questions for
Yes.
Yes.
Now
Slide your way.
Yes. And then
Your arm okay?
It is. It's
Okay.
dying, but it's fine.
I'm sorry.
That's
I feel like I should hold up your elbow or
Oh,
something.
thank you. No, fine.
Now, you might have already answered this. I was
Sure.
trying really hard to listen, but I
Sure.
couldn't hear everything over there. But what is it about the fair that makes you love it? That makes you want to come back here? That makes you want to do this?
You have artistic freedom, and as an artist,
Sometimes. I should have asked you about this, or said this before.
Yeah.
We're gonna edit out our questions.
Sure.
So if you could kind of
you're gonna.
reintegrate the
I didn't know you were
question
gonna
into
edit yourselves out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing I really love about the
Sorry,
festival.
one moment.
Oh, sorry.
it. Questions
You tell me
cursed.
when.
Right. Okay.
One thing I really love about the festival as an artist is that you can create, within, of course, the bounds of the Renaissance, you can be as creative as you care to be. And that is a true gift. As an artist, that is worth more than anything, is to not have that chain around you. Because I know if you're doing this, you're an artist. I'm talking about you, I should. Anyway, when that's worth more than any kind of money, is to actually be able to create and do what you want. So that's a wonderful freedom that I really like about Renaissance festivals.
Do you think you would have that freedom without the Ren Fair?
You would, but the market here is phenomenal. I mean, the amount of people that come through the gate here is quite high, and being here for so long, it'd be hard to build this market up to the scope that the guys that run this show are fantastic, and it's a very professional run show, and that I could not do alone, so I really appreciate it very much.
If it weren't for the Ren Fair, where would you sell your wares? Would you still have enough of an audience or a market to make your living viable?
Well, now I would, but only because I've been here for so long.
But if it
was brand new, I don't know. If I was in my 20s again, starting all over, I think that with the internet, you can do so many things. I mean, once again, you have an unfettered communication line out basically to the world, which is pretty incredible. So if you have good backing, or you save your little money so that you can start for a while, I think you could make it. But as being any kind of artist, like what your art form is, it's hard, to get started. But once you've got it, then it's easy.
If